Hey guys, Skittlerampage here. Welcome back to a new video. I do hope you're enjoying your day today. So today I want to go over every single anime Funko Pop moment and see what's the best and what's the worst. So if my math is correct and my research is correct, there are about 23 anime Funko Pop moments to date. I kind of thought there would be more, but yeah, there's a little over 20. Unless I missed one by chance. If I did, let me know in the comments below, but it might not still top our #1 spot today. I mean, it might end up being that Cell versus Gohan moment because that thing is just insane. But we have a lot to go over today, and I'm very excited, so let's check all these out. But before we get started, I do want to ask the question of the day, which is, what is an anime Funko Pop moment you would love to see Funko make that they haven't yet? I have so many that I don't even know if I could really land on one right now. Like, since I'm so hyped about Dragon Ball, maybe I could just do the spirit bomb struggle between Kid Buu and Goku. That would be really awesome from the Buu saga. But other than that, I could name a million things. There's just so much. And I don't know if Funko has enough money to make all of what I want. All right, so let's go and get started here. So we do actually have Kakashi versus Obito from Naruto. I think this is the third Naruto moment we got. It's the second or third because we also got Pain versus Naruto. And the first one was Sasuke versus Naruto. But anyways, we have three. So this features Kakashi throwing up kind of like a mud or rock wall there, and then we have Obito using Fireball Jutsu there. So in a sense, it's a pretty cool moment. This would have been an interesting glow pop too. This is obviously a pretty iconic fight. I don't know. I feel like this one was hit or miss among fans. I don't remember it selling too crazy well, but let me know how you guys feel about this one. I don't know. I like Obito. I like Kakashi, but I think there's just other moments in Naruto that I think I would have wanted more as a pop moment specifically, even though I do like these characters. Like, Madara versus Might Guy would have been amazing. That could have been so freaking cool. I think if they didn't fumble too hard on the Pain versus Naruto, that could have turned out really great. Or they could make like a deluxe moment of the legendary Sannin with all their summons. That could be really neat. So I got a few cool ideas they could do, but this Kakashi versus Obito, it's not like terrible, don't get me wrong there, but it's not my first pick, if that makes sense, even though this is a pretty iconic fight in the show. And of course, it looks like our next one's going to be Pain versus Naruto here. So this was just utterly disappointing. Like, the other side is a little cool because you can see he has like the torn up detail there and all that. But why this was disappointing is just because it just looks like they're just staring at each other, which is basically what it is. But there's so much that goes on in that fight. There's so many key moments to choose from that I just don't understand how we landed here, and this was the best possible moment they could have made from that huge fight. This is one of the best fights in the series. It's probably my favorite fight in the series, and I love the lore, I love the backstory in this one, I love the philosophical approach they took to it. And I was actually just reading something, I don't know how true it was, but it's one of those like Facebook posts that pops up. But apparently the creator of Naruto, he was struggling to make this extra philosophical and like the writing for this because it was just so deep and in depth. Again, I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, I understand. Like, there was so much put into this arc. So I would have loved a better moment. I just don't even think they really tried on this one. Now, next up we have Cowboy Bebop. So Cowboy Bebop wasn't really an anime I got into, but this was one of the original anime moments we had that people really loved. So I think for like Cowboy Bebop fans, this is just a dream come true, obviously. I mean, there's probably other notable fights in Cowboy Bebop that they would like to be made too, but what I really like is the glass in the background. Like, that artwork there just makes this pop, in my opinion. Like, obviously you have the two characters there, but that is such a beautiful piece in the back that really ties everything together. Even if I'm not a big Cowboy Bebop fan, and if I didn't like the anime and all that, I still think this is a really good moment that holds up. Next up from Demon Slayer, we have Tengen versus Gyatara here. So you actually have kind of like his blood attack there in the base, kind of coming up in different areas. And then I think those might be Tengen slashes in the back, or maybe it's just like gusts of wind. I'm not really sure, but a lot of people had issues with this moment because they weren't really clashing in it. Given they're doing a lot of swordplay, obviously, in their fight. I need to go back and watch this fight because it was excellent, might I add. But I think they definitely could have done more. It reminds me of the Naruto versus Pain one, where they're just kind of confronting each other and staring at each other versus actually like clashing. Like the Cell versus Gohan one, they have the beam struggle, in the middle there, which is really nice. The Naruto versus Sasuke one, They're like almost clashing, so it's kind of cooler, but you know, it's just so iconic that people love it. But like with this one specifically, if they had them swinging their swords more, actually clashing the sword and doing like really cool like quake effects or something, I think it would have made the pop a lot more desirable to fans. But I still do like this one. Now here's another moment that you could say the same thing. Technically, you could really say it about a lot of these moments, is that you kind of hope for a clash here, but this is such a big clash that I think that's a little harder to portray, if that makes sense. Because like they're doing insane moves in this fight. That's really hard to portray in an actual figure, you know, and make it cost effective probably. I think a glow would have been really cool on this though. However, we obviously have the new Zoro Premium coming, which is really awesome too. That, you know, portrays that moment too, which is nice. But this is still a really good moment. It has a lot going on. But personally, if you're asking me, this is definitely in the top 10 anime moments of the 20 plus we have. Next from Chainsaw Man, we have Aki with Kon the Fox Devil here. So this is a pretty excellent moment. Like even in person, this thing looks great. I think it captures pretty much everything here. You know, he's performing the ability with the character himself here, and then the Fox Devil is doing work in the background. You got the blood around the mouth and the explosion of when it appears. Like, I think they pretty much nailed this. There's not much else to add here. I genuinely think this is something that you don't really have a complaint about. Like, if you do have a complaint about it or something you would change, let me know in the comments below. But based off me recently watching the scene after I watched the Reze movie, I went back and watched Chainsaw Man again. I mean, this is almost 1-to-1. I think they did a really good job on this. Okay, so here's where it starts to take a turn, where we had Jujutsu Kaisen's first ever moment. Somehow this, we landed on this as like, out of all of season 1, this is where we landed with Itadori and the training doll, Tsukumo, whatever it was called. I can't remember the name of this thing. But like, I like the candles in the background in the logs. Like, I think that's cool. But other than that, it's just so plain. Like, it suffers from the same thing of Pain versus Naruto, where there's not a ton going on. And that's truly what makes this pop look so boring. On top of it, not even really being a crazy moment in the series, it's just a training moment early on. It was just, it's not needed. It's the same thing as that Temple Demon moment with Demon Slayer. Just not needed. I don't understand how we landed on this for such a big show. And again, speaking of bad choices here, we have the Temple Demon moment here. So I think the only redeeming factor this could have had was if Nezuko was actually kicking the head off, you know, like she does. I think that would have been really cool. Obviously, the confrontation between Tanjiro and the demon here is cool in a sense. Again, this is just one of the low tier fights of a demon that doesn't even really matter in the show. So it's like, wow, I'm surprised we went from Tanjiro versus Rui to this. So speaking of Demon Slayer here, this was one of the anime moments that kind of just blew everybody out of the water. Like when this came out, everybody was so impressed. They were so excited. A lot of people wanted his glow, myself included, but this is so cool. The pink flames going up is so awesome. Then you have the flames around Tanjiro's sword there that cuts on his face. The bushes in the background, so you have some greenery mixed with like the dirt. They added a lot to this, and you got a lot of value out of this. And there's just still so much they can do with Demon Slayer, so I really hope they dive more into the moment side. So here we are with the original OG best anime moment. It was really hard to top before Zoro, you know, versus King came out, and then this new Dragon Ball moment we just got. It's so beautiful looking at it. All the way down to the little leaf in the water is so cool. The splashing water is a great touch. Sasuke leaping off the crushed wall behind him. Both of them are beaten with swollen eyes. Like, they did so well on this with the tattered clothes. Like, there's so many little details the more you look at it. And this is still an anime moment that holds up to this day. Now with this other JJK moment of Itadori and Todo versus Hanami, this was obviously a very good redeemer to the, you know, Itadori training moment we got from Hot Topic. I think an issue with this one for a lot of people was the size of this, because those big deluxe moments, they're just really big to store. Like, it takes up so much space that you get a couple of them and it really starts to get in the way. Like, it's really hard to display other pops around these. So that's where like these big deluxe moments fail, in my opinion. I think they're just too big. You also have a ton of open space here they could definitely scale this down a little bit on the sides and then bring down the top a little bit just to make it fit a little bit better. Because sometimes I really don't think they're polling collectors or asking collectors in this sense of like, how are you doing on space? Like, do you think we could make this smaller? Like, because you already have the moment boxes, for example, just for the regular pop moments. Those are pretty big, especially if you're an in-box only collector, you don't like to take your pops out. That takes up a lot of space. You get a few of those. So then you get this, which is like triple the size. It's like, okay, like I can only buy like 2 of these. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, unless you start hanging them up on the wall. But I don't want to discount the fact that this is still a really cool moment. You know, you have Black Flash all around Itadori, and then you have Toto clapping there with his freaking eyes. He looks so silly. I'm gonna drink some water before this one because I got a lot to say about this and the other one. All right, let's jump in on this. So again, Pain versus Naruto situation. They're just looking at each other. While it's very interesting in the show and it's a very important scene in the show, it just doesn't translate too well to a figure. I think the best part about this is Zeke being in the chains. And then you have the sand detail that looks like water, unfortunately, and Eren just looking menacingly at it. It's just not something that screams a hot seller. And it feels like they did it just because Attack on Titan was really hyped at the time. And they're like, hey, let's get a moment out. Maybe they couldn't get something else they want to approve. So they're like, hey, let's get something out. And we landed on this. It's not even all about being like, oh my gosh, I want all of them to be clashing and all of them be attacking and all that. You can do important moments as they've done in plenty of other fandoms, Star Wars, Marvel, all those other ones. But this is just one that's just so boring to look at, like as something on your shelf, in my opinion, that it just, And granted, people can disagree. I know a lot of people are going to disagree. That's how I feel about this one. I had no interest in picking this up whatsoever, especially spending $30+ on it. And the same goes for this, actually, whereas we could have gotten like a Titan fight scene, even if they scaled down the Titans a little bit to like 6-inch pops or something. But we got like Eren meets Reina, and it's like, this was a crazy moment show. Don't get me wrong, this was crazy, them meeting after so long, and Reina being stunned, obviously. I can't help but laugh at some of these moments. I'm like, what is going on here, man? This looks so boring. Like, you have that little background items, like the box with the lantern on it, the chair, so it adds a little bit. But you take those away, these are just 3 people standing on a platform. Versus whereas we could have had Eren transformed, and like them kind of fighting in that moment. Granted, it might have been hard to translate that into something this size, but I would have loved the attempt. As much as this is an important moment in this show, same as the other Attack on Titan moment, I just think these are misses. Okay, moving on to the Mustang versus Lust scene here. He is lighting her up. He is lighting her up. Oh my gosh. You have the blood going down his stomach there. Flames coming off his wrist. Like, this is so good. You have the charred black marks on the base stand itself. This is so good. Oh, I just realized I had another angle of this where you guys can see more of the scorch marks here. Looks so cool. Okay, next we have the Hunter x Hunter moment of Meruem versus Komagi here. So this one, I originally wasn't a huge fan of, just because I think I wanted something else from Hunter x Hunter, you know, because Hunter x Hunter is such a fighting-based anime, but it also has a lot of story in it. So in that regard, I think I just kind of like overlooked this because there's so many great fights like Gon versus Pito, for example. I think I really wanted that. Or Meruem's fight would have been crazy. I think I wanted more, and I wasn't really looking at the simplicity of this and how obviously touching of a moment this is, and them building their bond. So after looking at it that way, after a lot of people kind of explained it to me that way, I understand it now, and I understand what makes this a really good moment. So this is where I'm saying where I kind of learned that not all of them really need to be crazy fighting moments. But like, even if you compare this to like the Attack on Titan ones, those are just not as good as something like this. Whereas they're playing this game where they're building their bond here, and they're so serious about it. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, bear with me, we got a couple more. So we have Inuyasha versus Sesshomaru here. So I'm not actually a big Inuyasha fan. I didn't watch the series, my wife did. She watched pretty much everything they put out for it. I think this one's cool because I really like the base stand detail. There's skulls all around it here. And then you kind of have like, I guess like an effect of Inuyasha jumping and leaping. Claws out, they look very like angry. It is kind of similar to the other ones where they're just looking at each other and they're clashing, but This was also at a time where Funko wasn't doing crazy, crazy effects with different things. I think, you know, like it went from the Naruto versus Sasuke moment to that Pain versus Naruto, if that makes sense. So that's where I think a lot of people are really like, why did we lose a ton of detail from this figure to that figure? But I think this Inuyasha one is really good because the characters themselves had a ton of detail, especially Sesshomaru there, in the outfit as well as like the face markings and all that. Plus also, given I don't know too much about this particular moment as to why they're clashing, I'm going to give this one a pass and just kind of say I don't really have too much an opinion on it. But if there was more detail to add, I would say that if I knew. But you guys can let me know in the comments if this could have been better or if you like it as is. So here we land on our first ever One Piece moment we got, which was Luffy with the dugongs. So this was one of those ones where I just felt it was a little unnecessary, but I can see why a lot of people would like this. I think I might have liked it more if it had a little bit more humor based in it, especially if like Luffy was doing the pose, like the kung fu pose with them. I think that would have been really neat. Otherwise, this is kind of just Luffy standing with them. So for that reason, I feel like there's so much in One Piece, and then we pulled this. I think that's why I feel like that, because like you gotta really look at One Piece. It has over what 1,100 episodes at this point. There's so much lore in there. There's so many different fights, and we pulled this from Alabasta instead of like Luffy versus Crocodile, you know. And again, it goes down to having some of the more simpler moments in Pops, but I think they could have done better with this and actually doing the Kung Fu pose. Now here we probably have the best Demon Slayer moment. I don't know. It kind of depends how you feel about the Tanjiro versus Rui one, but like Tengen with his wives is just so funny, and I love it. I just love this. I just love this so much. And the fact that they fit 4 Pops into that was really cool in itself. He's sitting on the giant chair. You have the lights, like the lantern lights in the back there, little purple lights in them. This turned out really well, though it didn't sell very well initially. I don't know if it's currently sold out in the Funko shop. It might have, maybe when it was on sale, but yeah, this one didn't even sell out at SDCC. I don't know if it was due to the price point, or maybe they made too many, or maybe people were just feeling Demon Slayer fatigue because there's a lot of Pops in the set. But I think if this was in the first or second wave of Demon Slayer, this would have sold really well. So something I forgot actually was that these Susanoo Pops are actually considered moments in those giant boxes. So I was like, oh, I guess technically these do go in this video here. So Sasuke's is really good. Like pretty much all of these Susanos look really good. I still think it's like the Itachi, Sasuke, then Madara, because like Madara just doesn't look as good and translate as well to Funko Pop, like a mold, as these two did. This one's excellent. Blood coming down his eye, the devilish smile on the Susanoo there with the yellow eyes, the weapons in hand. Like this thing looks excellent. And then we have Itachi here, which again is my favorite here. You have the hunched over pose, blood going down the eye, sickness on the arm there, and like the Susanoo's yellow eyes. I love the fact that they color those eyes. You have the sword and shield here. Like this thing looks so cool in person, and I love the vibrant colors on it. And then of course we have Madara's here. So again, Madara's, when you see the final mold, it kind of turned out very blobbish, unfortunately, compared to the other two. And I guess that kind of also just plays into how his is drawn, obviously, versus the other two. But his is definitely my least favorite of the bunch, but it still does look really cool when you look at it. And then, of course, we land on our final moment, which was Dragon Ball Z here. Our first ever Dragon Ball moment somehow. I don't know how we only have one to date, but man, I don't know if this is personal bias or what, but this has to be the best. This has to be the best out of the anime moments. Zoro versus King is great. All the Susanos are fantastic. They have a ton of detail. And even going back and looking at some of these other ones, I can't see one that has this level of detail. And the fact that they included Goku made it even better with the father-son Kamehameha with Goku being in spirit. And even when you look at it in person, they did so well. Like, they did so well. This translated so well from the glam shot to the official figure. The only thing that was really changed was Goku isn't as translucent, and I'm fine with that. Like, I am fine with that. I'm just happy that we have this excellent moment. They went all out to do this, and they didn't try to crazy downscale it to fit it in that moment box. They made the judgment call to split them off, and people are fine with that. People are completely fine with paying more money to be able to complete this. This is so good. Like, this is so good. I genuinely think this is going to be extremely hard to top Are there moments in anime that are better than this fight? Absolutely. There's plenty of things from One Piece or plenty of things from Dragon Ball in itself. There's other fights in Dragon Ball that could look better than this, but this is obviously one of the most hyped fights in all of Dragon Ball. So it's just going to be tough to top this level of detail. The artists went crazy with this. But let me know what you guys think. Out of all the anime moments we went over today, do you guys think the new Dragon Ball one is the best to date? I'm glad we already got in-person looks so I could really come to that clear decision that I feel it's the best. Or is there one that you favor more? Are there some that you disagree on what I was talking about in today's video? Is there a specific moment that you would love to see Funko make or maybe redo? Let me know in the comments below. But for now though, I had a lot of fun making today's video, just kind of talking about these. They've made so many good ones over the years. They've made a lot of bad ones over the years. But here's hoping they continue to learn and just keep giving us what we want so we can keep spending our money on awesome things like the Dragon Ball one. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure to hit the like button down below if you did enjoy, and subscribe and click that notification bell if you're new here. I do want to say a big shout out to all the awesome Patreon supporters of the channel. You guys are amazing for supporting myself and the channel. If you guys are interested, want to check out the Patreon, the link is down below. We have a Patreon-only Discord where we share a lot of information, news, restocks, updates, links, and more. And finally, make sure to follow me on all my social medias at Skittlerampage over on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and my Facebook page, so you can stay up to date. All right, love you guys. See you guys in the next one. See you guys later. Bye.